So in the age of mass layoffs and restructurings and things, what is one thing you could do that would just universally feel a little bit out of touch? How about releasing an early look at an AI model that can generate video of video games that don't exist? That can then be used in theory to build games and cut out the need for concept artists, game designers, and stuff like that, because you have an AI model that can just generate clips of a game that looks really cool and fun. Well, that's what Microsoft has done. They revealed something called Muse. Now, Muse is an AI model that can generate minutes of cohesive gameplay from a single second of frames and controller actions. So it's the first world and human action model, a WAM, and the scale of training is mind-blowing. Trained on 1 billion gameplay images. That's not actually that impressive. Used 7+ years of continuous gameplay data. I'm not sure what data means, but okay. And then learned from real Xbox multiplayer matches. Basically what they did is, this is one of the things that Ninja Theory has been working on. Ninja Theory being the guys that did Hellblade Senua's Saga. And they also worked on a big live service game that everybody's collectively forgotten about called Bleeding Edge. This thing. Bleeding Edge. Bleeding Edge was like an absolute dumpster fire. It lost players immediately. It flopped very hard. It was like Concord before Concord, but nobody remembers this. Like, this was the same guys that did Hellblade, Senua Saga, and then Senua's Sacrifice. Like, these are the same guys. And this is what they were doing before they moved on to Hellblade 2, which in my opinion ended up being like laughably short and underwhelming. But this is what they were doing before. They were working on another live service, like shooter, whatever the hell this is. And so this team, Ninja Theory, worked with this project, with Bleeding Edge, on training this AI that Microsoft has been working on. And now, as you can see, the goal is for it to take a single second of gameplay and then controller inputs, and then Muse, the AI, can create multiple unique playable sequences that follow actual game physics, mechanics, and rules. The version shown in research was trained on just a single game, which was Bleeding Edge. And so the idea is you could train it on other games like The Witcher 3 or something, and then have it then go and generate more clips of potential gameplay from that. Now, you might be wondering, what the hell is the point of this? Like, why not just go take a clip from Twitch? Fantastic question. I don't have an answer, but we'll move on. He continues, we're watching the beginning of a major shift in how games are created. Game development traditionally takes months or years of character design, animation, and gameplay testing. Scaled up models like Muse could eventually compress this cycle from months to minutes. And Microsoft's research is published in Nature today. They'll be releasing Muse's model weights, training data samples, and sharing the testing interface. Another win for open source. Hot take, we'll see the first truly AI-assisted indie game hit the top 10 on Steam within 18 months. Not because AI makes better games, but because it lets creative people iterate 100 times faster. Elon seems to agree, debuting X's gaming studio this week, which is true. Elon's going to try to make an AI game studio, whatever that means. I honestly don't know what AI game studio means. I don't know if that means that it's just a game studio that uses Grok to help with coding. I don't know if it means that they literally let the AI do everything. I have no idea what AI game studio means, but I'm honestly not sure what the practical application is of something like this, because it seems like you train it on a game and then put in inputs and then it generates that. Is the idea that eventually this would just replace the game itself? Like, you don't actually have a video game, you have an AI that's presenting like a dynamic version of the video. Like, I don't know what the actual implication is or use of this. George responded to this kind of funnily. He's a toy designer, ZBrush digital sculptor. Said, wow, all this needed was one, an entire existing fully developed and released video game, and two, the equivalent of 7 years of continuous human gameplay data to train on, all to produce a 300 by 180 pixel approximation of a game that looks and functions much worse than the original. Which is true. Now, Xbox actually did respond to this directly. Wario has a screenshot of it. They said, although it's still early, this model research is pushing the boundaries of what we thought was possible. We're already using Muse to develop a real-time playable AI model trained on other first-party games, and we see the potential for this work to one day benefit both players and game creators, from allowing us to revive nostalgic games to faster creative ideation. Maybe the idea is that you could put into Muse like a game like The Witcher 3, but with the slower movement of Red Dead Redemption 2. And then I also want to have alien invasions, and I think instead of horses, everybody's riding on unicorns. And then it does its thing. You plug in your controller and then you play, and it has like a low resolution version of that, so you can see if that could maybe work. Honestly, I still don't really know how this would be helpful. But okay. Today, countless classic games tied to aging hardware are no longer playable by most people. Thanks to this breakthrough, we're exploring the potential for Muse to take older back catalog games from our studios and optimize them for any device. We believe this could radically change how we preserve and experience classic video games in the future and make them accessible to more players. So you have the AI train on the game, and then it can basically just mimic the game and present like an alternative version of it that is available to modern people. Wouldn't it just be easier to provide like the ROMs and then like port it? I don't understand. Again, I just don't understand what this does uniquely. I'm missing a big part of this because they're acting like this is a major breakthrough. Can somebody smarter than me or more in tune with the AI stuff explain to me why this is like so impressive? Because it seems to me like they trained an AI model on 7 years of user data, and they are now able to create little clips that look worse than the original game. I don't understand. It lets you resell things that already exist. Oh. Oh, that makes sense. It's all coming together now. To imagine that beloved games lost to time and hardware advancement could one day be played on any screen with Xbox is an exciting possibility for us. Another opportunity we're exploring is how Muse can help game teams prototype new gameplay experiences during the creative process and introduce new content, taking games players already love and enabling our developers to inject new experiences for them to enjoy, or even enable you to participate in the creation process. We'll create opportunities for people to participate in this exploration, starting with short interactive AI game experiences for you to try on Copilot Labs very soon. There's still so much for us to discover, and we can't wait to share more. They're framing it as gameplay ideation, which to me, again, makes me think like you put into it like The Witcher 3, but Geralt has a hoverboard, and then it creates a blurry version of that you can play and see how it feels. And then if it's good, then you go and actually build it into the game. I think that's what they're saying is like the ultimate goal. As for like game preservation, again, I don't know why you don't just preserve the game. That to me seems better. Prototyping basically, yeah. But my understanding from this is that it's not actually creating a prototype. It's creating like a video output, and that's based on gameplay inputs you're doing. Or maybe they mean that this also can run in real time. From a single second of gameplay and controller inputs, Muse can create multiple unique playable sequences that follow actual in-game physics, mechanics, and rules. So they put in like the initial footage, bunch of different variations, and then make it consistent. It might just be like, okay, what if we had a playable character in Marvel Rivals that only moves with backflips and can transform into a snake, and then it generates that, and it's like, oh, that could work. Call him Slime Boy. Maybe that is all there is to it, but I do still feel like I'm missing the ultimate vision. They did it basically just because they could. I mean, I'm sure there is eventually an application this could work for. Eventually. I just don't know what it is. Like, I do think that AI can save tons of time in development. I mean, even something like using an AI to create concept art. I can see how that would save a lot of time. Like, I get the application. I get why they want to use that. With this, I don't see how this saves them time. Like, I guess you can generate a few minutes of gameplay with like a tweaked gameplay system, so you can kind of see. But so much of gameplay is tied into how it actually feels and works when you're playing the game. And having this, I don't think would actually give you that, you know? No, I don't like that. I didn't say I like it. I said I get it. Like, I understand what they like why they're doing it. Because there's a difference between understanding why they're doing something and liking what they're doing, you know? I can understand why somebody's breaking into a store and stealing the like electronics that aren't protected under like the steel cages. I understand why they're doing that because it's really easy for them to do that. I don't like that they're doing it. I don't think they should do that, but I understand why they ended up doing that. You know what I mean? It's a rough analogy. As software engineer, I see a lot of bad, unsafe, unoptimized code generated using AI. It's going to be rough years with CEOs pushing it to cut down costs using AI. Yeah. Well, especially when the broader thing is like, well, AI can shrink costs. We can just do that. He took my thing.